All right, welcome back. We got some trades finalized. Arizona is getting the Brian Little contract that the Jets were looking to dump. They also get prospect Nathan Smith. He's a good player. He's promising young prospect. Should play into Arizona's future. The Jets get a 2022 fourth-round pick from Arizona in exchange. Next up, the Capitals get Marcus Johansson in exchange for Dylan Sprong. I keep calling him Dylan. Daniel Sprong. A 2022 fourth-round pick and a 2023 sixth-round pick. I think the Capitals kind of got hosed here. I know Johansson has some 20-goal upside, but he hasn't really demonstrated that the past few years. I love Johansson. I'm a big fan of him. He just doesn't show up on the scoreboard like he used to. Whereas Dylan Sprong, the past few seasons, not this year. He scored 8 goals through 47 games. He'll probably get like 13 this season, but he's been on a 20-goal pace the past few seasons. Young guy, a lot of upside. I really like Sprong in his game. Johansson's more of a 200-foot player than Sprong. Sprong's mostly offense. So they give up Sprong and 2 draft picks for Johansson. I'm hoping this pans out a bit for Washington and Johansson kind of finds his game back with Washington. I think it's a very good fit for him. We'll see. At first glance, it looks like the Capitals just got hosed on this and Seattle steals a few picks and a great young player. The Wild acquire Middleton from the Sharks in exchange for goaltender Capo Kakinen and a 5th-round pick. This is kind of a surprising deal, but I'm not mad about it. Middleton's a big bruising defenseman. He's young, third-pairing defenseman. He's a restricted free agent at the end of the season. I like him. He's got some potential. I like his game a lot, honestly. It's very old school, kind of what you saw in like the early 2000s type of player. Good stay-at-home defenseman. Can drop the gloves with anyone. It's got a sweet mustache, old-style Cal Clutterbuck stash. So I like him a lot. The Wild are bulking up for the playoffs. He'll likely be a third-pairing defenseman. John Merrill. Oh man, Jordy Ben. He'll play with John Merrill. Jordy Ben will probably be a 7th defenseman at this point. He hasn't played all that great this year for Minnesota. Kakinen, I'm surprised they gave up Kakinen. He's had a bit of a down year, but he's a young guy. He can play. He's had some really strong games. He was really good at the beginning of the season. He was excellent when Talbot was out with an injury this year. They also give up a 5th-round pick. Kakinen's an RFA after this season, and I mean, it kind of hurts, but again, Wild have young goaltending depth. They can kind of afford it. I hope Kakinen proves the Wild wrong and that they made a mistake, and I'm going to miss Kakinen a lot as a Wild fan, so all the best to him. Kind of an expected trade after we found out about rumors about Fleury. We knew one of the goaltenders was likely going to go. They're not going to send Kakinen down. He's not an AHL goalie. I don't think he would have to pass through waivers as of yet. I think he's still young enough, but he deserves an NHL job, so it's exciting. He's going to go to a new team, get a chance to be a number 1, which I think he can do and he should do. So all the best to Kakinen. It's going to hurt when the Wild play the Sharks and Kakinen steals the game, but biggest news of the day, though. So Fleury goes to the Wild in exchange for a 2022 second-round pick. It's a conditional second-round pick. I'm going to read off the quote from Frank Saravelli. Second-round pick becomes a first for the Blackhawks if Minnesota reaches the Western Conference Final, and Fleury accounts for 4 or more wins in the first 2 rounds. So, Fleury is going to be the starter going into the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Wild. If they make it to the Western Conference Finals, obviously, Fleury will have had 4 wins under his belt, assuming he doesn't get hurt. I don't really foresee that happening. He's a very durable goaltender and has been for years. So that likely turns into a first if the Wild get that far, which if you're in Minnesota, that's a really good condition. If you're a Stanley Cup contender, you're like 1 series away from going to the finals. You'll give up a first for that, especially because it's been since 2003 since they've been to that point. They need to go for it this year. They're really under cap constraints the next few years. Significant cap constraints the next few years. So this is their chance. This is their shot. A little side note, Fleury, half of his salary will be retained by Chicago. So that still leaves a lot of cap space for Minnesota to make a few more moves. I'm curious to see what that includes. Again, I'm looking at perhaps a first-line center. Ryan Hartman's been great, but that's probably the room for improvement on the Kaprizov-Zuccarello line. Because Kaprizov has been he's in the Hart conversation in this year. He's probably not going to win it, but he'll probably end up like 5th or 6th in voting, which is excellent. And Zuccarello has been playing out of his mind this year. By far an all-star level. He probably should be in the Hart conversation as well. Just watching him night in, night out, the little plays he makes, the dishes, the strength on the puck. So if you can get some type of elite center to center that line, the Wild become a very dangerous team because they have a lot of depth scoring. Two guys on their second line, 2 guys on their third line should surpass 20 goals this year, which should tell you something about their depth. Their fourth line kind of can be very variable depending on who they're playing. They can beef it up, make it bulky. They can play with skill. They can have a fourth line that's defensively focused. So I like it. I think their biggest need right now is a top-tier center, maybe a rental player, because you're probably not going to be able to afford that player moving forward. We'll see. I think their defense has been bumped up enough. You got Dumba and Brodin on your second line. You got Goligoski and Spurge on your first line. It's a solid top 4 right there. You got Middleton and probably John Merrill will be playing on that third line. So I really like Minnesota and their chances. I think there's a lot of potential for them to make one final move. And we'll see what they do. They might not do anything because, at the same time, Ryan Hartman has had a career year. He's playing excellent hockey. He's well above 20 goals. He might hit 30 this year. He should hit 30, which would be awesome. Be great for him. So we'll see what happens with the Wild. They've been really intriguing at this deadline. I'm really going to miss Kakkonen. I love Kakkonen. All the best to him. Sprong, too. I'm not a Capitals fan by any means, but I really liked Dylan Sprong in his game. You never know what he's going to bring. He's a fast little guy. And so, yeah, that's kind of the update for now. And we'll keep it going. We're 2.5 hours away from trade deadline, and things are ramping up. So keep you updated. I'll be here, and thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Take care, all right?